Go by that clock. All right, we will go ahead and call to order the City of Solon regular council meeting on Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. That we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Roll call. Duncan. Absent. Arlinger. Here. Gabriel. Here. Kramer. Here. Whitehead. Is Lauren logged on yet? Can you see? No, she's gonna zoom in for it.
No, I don't see.
Okay. She will likely be joining us here shortly. Their civility pledge. We pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, and acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community. Perfecting and approval of the agenda. V will not be joining us, as Susie stated beforehand, so we will not have item 11 on the agenda. We also will not be going into closed session tonight, either with Kevin out, so we'll have those two items out. We have a motion to perfect and approve the agenda. We'll move to perfect and approve the agenda. Awesome. All right. Arlinger? Yes. Gabriel? Kramer? Yes. Next, we have citizen speak. This is a time on the agenda for anybody in the audience that would like to speak on anything that is not on the agenda.
I am here for Courtney Kramer, who's on Highway 1, hurrying back, which is an example of why the 5:30 meeting is difficult for people that work in our city. Having said that, I promised to present for her if she wasn't here on time. On October 5th, the third annual Bone Dash 5K and Monster Mile Run will take place at the Solon Recreation Nature Center. The event is a fundraiser for the Pediatric Rheumatology Support Group at the UI Stead Family Children's Hospital. The goal of the support group is to create a network for pediatric patients, that's children with rheumatoid arthritis, with the disease, offer support and inclusion, connections, education, and social events, all while raising awareness about pediatric rheumatoid disease, which is awful for children. Last year, the event brought over 300 patients and participants to our community, 300. And we anticipate continued growth each year. Registrants attend from all over the state of Iowa, as well as surrounding states, as well as several countries, to support their loved ones battling pediatric rheumatoid disease. We are honored to hold this event in Solon and appreciate the support from the city council. The Division of Pediatric Rheumatology would like to formally invite the mayor and the city council members to join us on October 5th for a fantastic event. And just an appendix to that, Courtney would never say this, but I can say it. On November 14th, Courtney Kramer from South Iowa Street will travel to Washington, D.C. to receive the Addie Thompson Service Award for support and volunteer service for the field of rheumatology. This award is presented by the American College of Rheumatology. And I have, apparently you were mailed some of the, the city did receive the Bone Dash information, but I have enough for the council and not for everyone here. It may be on your email. This is for the council, and I know they would be very proud if you can. Thank you so much.
Susan, we have Lauren on as well. All right. Thank you. All right. Anybody else for citizen speak tonight? All right. That we'll move to consent the agenda. The approval of the minutes from September 4th regular meeting, approval of the list of bills, treasurer's report and transfers, building permits, which there are a handful, and then event applications for the homecoming parade. I don't know if there's any comments for the homecoming parade tonight. Looks like the route is shorter on Main Street this year than past years. Any questions, comments, concerns?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
All right. Farlinger?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Whitehead?
Yes.
Next, Public Works Director, report, Scott.
Just one quick thing, our concrete contractor has, rolled into town and they started with the new trail segment. This is down at the SRNA, and it made it, more ADA compliant, for those that needed to get to the concession stand from the parking lot, whether it be the SRNA parking lot or the parking lot at, Solon Lakeview School. So that did get, completed, and from there, I believe, they're gonna start on Main Street, over by E&J Electric and start taking care of those road repairs. Other than that, we're still busy. We keep going. Guys have a new truck. They're organizing, getting it ready, and just general maintenance.
All right, thanks, Scott. City engineer report, Dave.
Evening, Dan. The only thing I have to update is that Trail Ridge is nearly complete. They finished the pressure testing out at the valve vault relocation. That was the last infrastructure item. They have a few punch list items to take care of. We should have the final plat ready for review here shortly, and they're getting utility signatures on that now. So, and anything else anybody has questions on, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, thanks, Dave. City Attorney Kevin is out tonight as well. Hope he has a reach out to you. Proclamations, we'll move them down. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So with that, we have proclamation, whereas domestic abuse, dating abuse, and stalking affects women, children, and men of all racial, cultural, and economic backgrounds, causing long-term physical, psychological, and emotional harm. And whereas 1 in 3 Americans has witnessed an incident of domestic violence, and whereas children who experience domestic abuse are at a higher risk for failure in school, mental illness, substance abuse, suicide, and may choose violence as a way to solve problems later in life. And whereas domestic abuse in rural communities exists as a hidden, silent, and often unrecognized crime that is often underreported. And whereas through the inspiration, courage, and persistence of victims of domestic abuse, their children, and advocates, our communities are learning to recognize the impact of violence in the home and within intimate relationships. And whereas the DVIP and RBAP has worked to end violence and abuse in intimate relationships for more than 45 years through the collaborative partnerships of advocates, volunteers, local municipalities, criminal justice, health and human services, faith communities, business leaders, and private citizens. And whereas our community's achievements should be commended, and we must continue our commitment to respect and support victims of domestic abuse and to prevent future violence in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the city of Solon, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 to Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Solon, Iowa, and urge all people to work together to eliminate domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking from our community. Signed this day, the 18th September 2024. We have a group from the DVIP here. I'd like to say a few words.
I would love to.
Hi, thank you so much for having us. This is actually the first time we've ever been with the Solon City Council for a domestic violence awareness month proclamation. So it's really exciting for us, especially because of the scope of our services within Johnson County. My name is Alex Hippie. I am with the Domestic Violence Intervention Program, and very soon, as in the end of next week, as of October 1st, we will become DVIP and RVAP. So that is the Domestic Violence Intervention Program and the Rape Victim Advocacy Program. It is an exciting time for our agency. We are soon to be opening the doors of our new emergency shelter in Iowa City. We are doubling our capacity to house victim survivors, which is incredible for us. Since 2017, we've seen a 37% uptick in the need for services. So that need is very much there. And our new shelter was built with the intention of being trauma-informed, and very long-lasting. We're expecting to be in that building for the next 40 to 60 years. So it's really built to keep us moving and keep us going. One of our Johnson County advocates is here tonight. I just want to thank her for being here as well, but I also wanted to read you some statistics. This last year in Johnson County, we served about approximately 1,900 victim survivors And in Solon in particular, that, there were 13 victim survivors that we served directly. With each victim survivor, you can imagine about 200 hours of services are dedicated to that individual, whether that is peer counseling, legal advocacy, meeting with them to make a police report, all of those things are included in that. So it really amounts to a lot of work that is being done in this community. I just want to thank you for having us here and declaring October Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yes, thank you for coming up.
Yeah, we do have some stat sheets and some brochures for you all. Would you mind verbally if we stole you all for a picture?
Yeah, not at all.
It helps us a lot with promoting this.
You want to come back here and have us come on?
Whatever, we can stop back there, we can do a little flag action in the background.
Sure, make some space. That'll make some space.
Do you want me to take it for you? That would be lovely, thank you. If you could do one. The supposed to be, if you see this one, take one here. And then one that's. And fit us all in. Whoever didn't get one, have that extra. I'm gonna pop in. Thank you.
Squeeze more, squeeze more. Ready?
Enough?
Yep, that's good. Do you want me to do this one too?
Sure,
Okay.
that would be lovely.
There you go.
Thank you all
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thank you for everything you did.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Our next proclamation is for trick or treating. This year will be on October 31st. So whereas an annual tradition has been established to have trick or treat night on Halloween night, and whereas it is beneficial to designate a date and time to hold trick or treat, so as to create a safe and organized event. Now therefore, I, Dan O'Neill, Mayor of Solon, do hereby proclaim that the city of Solon shall have trick or treat on Thursday, October 31st, 2024, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Takes us down to new business. The first item is the Johnson County Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement 5-year agreement. Cammy, I'll kick it over to you first.
Thank you, Mayor. So the agreement on the agenda tonight has been in a work in progress with Sheriff Kunkel and the Police Committee really since earlier this year during budget talks when we talked about the 5-year contract. There's been a couple drafts that have come through. The Police Committee met with Sheriff Kunkel last week, and I think that we finally have an agreement that meets the needs of our community as we grow over the next 5 years, and also allows the Sheriff's Department to plan accordingly for their staffing and planning as well. The highlights in the agreement are a 5-year contract where the hours do gradually increase, as well as the rate per hour gets us closer to the proposed hourly rate that Sheriff Kunkel presented at budget time. And that's really, I think, a good step, a great step to work toward, because we want to be paying our fair share. We also know the great value that the Johnson County Sheriff's Office provides the city of Solon. We've had a great relationship for many years, and this agreement is just a representation of the long-standing relationship that we hope to continue with the Sheriff's Department.
Brad, is there anything you'd like to add to it?
Can you hear me? Can we over
Yeah.
here? No, Cammy, I hit a home run with the explanation. And as she mentioned, we've been working on this for quite a while for those of you that are involved. The couple differences you see also are in the format. So historically, the agreements we have they're a contract, but they've been a little more MOU-ish. This would be an actual 2080 agreement, which it's more formal, and really what we should have been doing under the code for probably the last 30 years is have an actual 2080 agreement. So I'm going to be moving all the towns to this format also. And then, yeah, like she explained, it sets the rates that we'll be charging annually, so you know those increases, you can budget for it. It helps me prepare for it, so I'm not going into my budget season with, kind of a guesstimate on the revenue, and then we can all plan and move forward. It also allows the latitude in there if we do need to adjust the hours at some point, we can still do that, and it doesn't void or, start the contract, or we can do it in the life of the contract, if we need to make those adjustments. So it really, it gives us what we're looking for. It gives us a little more flexibility with hours if we need it, but also helps us start to move towards that offsetting that cost. When I first talked about the numbers and explained, when I first figured these rates, memory serves, I was doing it before our current union contract was in place. Historically, our rates, the salary rates that the union negotiates over the long term, the average is about 3.25%. And so in calculating these, this $4 an hour a year, it's an 8% increase, starts to move us at a little better rate towards paying that 100%. Well, then when the contract got negotiated this year, the current fiscal year rate is 4%, next year is 5%. So you're actually getting a better deal, but also because what it means is, whereas the 8%, when we first figured this, was probably I forget how many percentage increase in the offset. The 8% increase here equals a 1% offset in the end. So I think you'll be moving from 87 to 88% of the cost. So it actually slows down the gradual growth toward 100%. So I would suggest taking the deal while it's in front of you. But just so we're clear, it's the same rate for everybody else. Otherwise, yeah, it still gives us the latitude to do what we need to in the contract. And the other thing we also actually have removed is that, for years we've been charging that extra 40 hours during beef days. Well, when we look at how we staff it and really what beef days is anymore, we just don't dedicate the staff to it. So we've removed that part and we'll just staff it as we see fit. If we get to a point where it's expensive and taxing on us, we can talk about a separate fee for it, but we just remove that. So that extra 40 hours we used to bill, we're just not going to bill anymore.
And just kind of add on to that, one of the things that we talked during the committee meetings was we also, by taking that out, if staffing does change, we don't want it to feel like we're trying to take advantage by pulling it out with that. So we're going to see how the staffing levels are, but beef days sounds like significantly calmer than it has been in years past, as far as just,
Grew up in that kind of thing. It's just, it's not like it was 25 years ago.
So within the agreement, there are some things called out for animal control, and there's some things that we still need to do from a city's perspective to take care of that. So we'll work with city staff to finalize that. But as we work through the contract, we agree to it tonight. It's not going to be, all right, tomorrow we take on all the animal control type things that are in there. So it's, Brad and his staff have been great to work with as we've worked through that. So I assume over the next, weeks or months, we'll be working with Scott, and Cammie and just kind of working through what does that look like from a city perspective and everything like that. But I think the 5-year agreement, as both Cammie and Brad said, it really shows the relationship that we have and just, or not relationship, partnership that we have with it. And one thing that's not in there is with the substation that we have, that is covered with a MOU.
Yep, there's a separate MOU. We entered into that. I can't even tell you the date on it, but yeah, we have a separate agreement for basically just covers like who's cleaning it, who's paying this bill. They have a separate MOU and it doesn't need to be in the contract.
Any questions, comments, anything like that?
I just want to thank everybody for the time and work that they put into this. I think it's great for Solon and our longstanding relationship with the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. It's been fantastic, and I look forward to having it on a more stable and regular basis.
All right. With that, do we have a motion to approve the Johnson County Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement 5-year agreement?
We'll move to approve the 5-year agreement with the Johnson County Law Enforcement.
And I'll second.
All right, Farley,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Whitehead.
Yes.
All right, that takes us down to item 15, resolution 2431, preliminary and final plat in the fringe area for Shagbark Acres, the second edition. Cammy, would you like to take that or should we have Dave?
Let's have Dave.
All right, this is a plat that covers a portion of Outlot A in Shagbark. And this plot, even though it's an outlot, already has a building on it and it has the Welly subdivision on it also. What they're looking to do with this plat is to make it from an outlot to and they also go to the property to the west slightly to make up for an encroachment that's there. So you'll see on that plat, there's a few notes side of the building for lot or a note A that indicates that they're going to take a portion of that lot. So this is in fringe area group, it's fringe area 1. It really is a big city, given that it's already essentially, even though it's like a full outlot, has a building on it and will be served by the utilities that are within that development. So not necessarily waiving it, but approving it for the county to proceed with the
Looks like we lost Dave on there.
I'll jump in. Typically, anything in our fringe area 1, we would recommend that it would go to planning and zoning for review, but because this is an outlot changing to a buildable lot, and because there's already an accessory building on it, it's our recommendation that the council approve this preliminary and final plat without going to planning and zoning, just because of the nature of the situation.
Any questions on the?
I think, I just have a comment, really. I think that since it's already got the utilities on it, correct me if I'm wrong, it's already got a building that's already got the utilities to it. I think that's why that would be justified for me to be okay with it. If it didn't have any of those things, then I would absolutely agree that it needs to be sent to P and Z. But I think since it's just about there anyways, I would have to agree with Cammy and Dave on it.
I'll go, that's it.
All right, with that, do we have a motion to approve resolution 2431?
I'll move to approve resolution 2431.
Second. Arlen,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Whitehead.
Yes.
All right. That takes us down to other business, so no updates on several of the committees. The building needs growth. We have the Jordan Creek Church with that, Cammy sent a memo out on that. Any other updates to that, Cammy?
Not since I sent that memo. It's really in their, it's in their ballpark at this point. Dave did a great job of putting together a memo that really talked about the nuances of annexation and the lay of the land and water and sewer and infrastructure needs. So what they're doing at this point is they're trying to narrow down engineer, and their engineer will kind of work on those things, and then they'll come back to us, I expect, in the next few weeks. And at that point, I'll invite the Building and Growth Committee to be included in those conversations as their schedule allows. This is a fairly complex annexation potentially, and I know that I've gotten some feedback from the city council, and right now there's some parcels that would need to be annexed in between the church site and our current city limit. So that's part of the complexity of the discussions.
From the police committee, we just agreed on the 5-year contract with that. Then we'll have further meetings with staff as far as some of the items in the contract. And then with the city school, the next meetings, QD, I know that was working to get schedules signed up to talk through the 28 agreement there.
A quick update on that, Mayor. I sent kind of our final draft out to our core committee, which is Brody, Scott, John, and Steve Duncan. I think we have a good core draft to send over to the school, which I plan to send that over this week. And that's what Davis had requested prior to scheduling that meeting, is to see our core draft. And so I think we're ready for that step. So hopefully when I get back next week, we'll get a meeting scheduled.
All right. Thank you for the update on that. That, we have city clerk report, Susan. All right, Cammy, any city administrative comments?
No comments.
All right, council comments?
I just want to thank everybody for their hard work on the police committee agreement.
Thank you for all your help with that, Lauren.
My pleasure.
All right, mayor comments. Cammy, thank you for representing City of Solon at the League of Cities this week and with the national conference next week as well. So safe travels. You got there, so safe travels back here and then off to Pittsburgh next week.
Thank you very much.
With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hey.
All right.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Lauren. See you, Cam.